I always look good. My hair's done, my makeup's done, my outfit is perfectly coordinated, and it's very flattering for my body. And this isn't something that I'm saying because I'm vain or I'm being cocky. It's a societal demand that I have to live up to so that I can be treated as a human being because I'm fat. I always notice the difference when I go to the DMV or I go to a job interview or I go to the doctor's office and I decide to just go with the way I woke up, like not having to do my makeup and my hair's in a bun and I'm just wearing sweats and I look casual, I look like every other civilian in the world. I noticed how differently I'm treated. Like people will treat you like you're kind of invisible or less than, and that's a fact. That's not me trying to be like, oh, it's just imagination. Just ask any fat person that you know in your life that they know that they have to look good. If you know that person in your life, in your brain, that you're like, oh, she always looks good. Like she's always dressed up. She's always like the overdressed person. And most likely she's fat. And the reason why she is doing that is because we have to do that. We have to kind of like put up this like barrier to protect us and allow people to see us beyond our fatness and allow people to treat us beyond the way we treat fat people. I mean, let me give you an example. And this was really traumatizing actually for me a few years ago. I was really advocating for fat people to go to the doctor and get their checkups and their yearly checkups and just get checked to make sure that they're you know, not forgetting to go to the doctor. And the reason is because I learned, I don't remember the statistic and I don't remember who told me what it is, but this came into my brain once and it has never been able to leave. And the reason why fat people or people with obesity, even though I hate that word, tend to um, get sick more or die, the main reason is because they don't catch illnesses and sicknesses like an average other person who goes to the doctor. It's because you don't go to the doctor. You know that you're going to be mistreated and you know that it's not going to be a good experience, so you don't want to go there. A doctor's office can be a traumatizing experience for any fat person, and so that's why we don't really go, right? I've been someone who's fat since I was a little kid. I think I've been fat since I was like 5 or 6 years old. Once I started going to school and a lot of things started happening, life changes and things like that. But ever since that age, I've always been like the fatter sister, the fat cousin, the fat classmate. Like I was that girl. And in the past 30 something years that I've been alive, I noticed a difference of how I'm treated when I'm dressed up and when I'm not dressed up, when my hair's done, when my makeup is done and when I'm not. And it's apparent, I mean, also in the dating world as a fat person, you see the difference the way men treat you. Let's say you're at a party and you're with your skinny friends and whatnot, and you see the way sometimes men will see past you, like almost like you're not there, almost like you're a ghost, because they're focusing on your skinny friends and they're focusing on like the people around you. And you tend to feel invisible. You tend to feel like you're not there, and it's just one of those experiences that as a fat person you sometimes don't say or speak out loud because it may sound or seem like it's only in your brain. But trust me, I see you, I hear you. I've been there, and I think that's also one of the reasons why I hate going to parties and like I mean, I did for a long time of my life. I hated going out to dance or to party with my friends because I'm like, I'm going to be seen right through. And unless I am with a group of friends who is not interested in being with other boys, because most of the times when you're like a teen or in your 20s or you go out with your friends, a lot of the girls are there just to like find a guy that they want to hook up for the night or find the love of their life or whatever it may be, or a crush, or to have a crush on someone. And I get it, that can be very exciting, but unless you're a skinny person, that can be a very horrible experience. It almost makes you feel like an outsider in these areas. So it doesn't become fun for you. And I know that this is something I'm blabbing right now, but this is something that I really wanted to like talk about in the future. And this is another video that I want to do. It's like how I hate so much going out because I always felt invisible. And I was like, no one's going to ask me to dance unless I have like friends or someone or a guy that I'm actually dating or someone that I'm flirting with that's going to be at the party. I probably will be standing on the wall or being by myself or just dancing with my friends, which can be fun. And of course, I think that's probably my favorite ways to go with a group of friends who is not interested in talking to men. Because to me, even then, even before I noticed that I was gay, I wasn't really interested in that as well. So it almost annoyed me. And I'm like, why are my girlfriends so obsessed with dancing and talking to these annoying, ugly ass men? Because to me, I was like, I don't get it. I mean, I should have known that I was gay sooner than that. But yeah, you know what I mean? It was just such a hard experience. But anyways, back to my story. Um, a few years ago, while I was promoting everyone online to like go get a checkup, because like I said earlier, the main reason why fat people get sick and die, it's because they don't catch these illnesses that other people may catch, because we don't go to the doctor because it gave me a really bad experience. And so I was like, let me put my money where my mouth is, or my mouth where my money is, or whatever the saying is. But let me just go to the doctor. Let me go and get these yearly checkups. And I was getting them, and I was promoting them, and I was taking photos on my stories and letting people know that I'm going to the doctor. You know, I'm a fat person going to the doctor. And one day I had my yearly checkup, and I was having a hard time sleeping. And I was like, I need to go to the doctor. Maybe there's something, some vitamins are off. I may need something. Up to this point, I had never had any issues with anything. I never had high blood pressure or diabetes or anything that you may think that's related to fatness, right? And it wasn't, and I learned to advocate for myself. Like whenever I would hear like a fat shaming comment from a doctor, which happens all the time, and to a lot of fat people, I knew how to bring that down and make the focus of my appointment be the reason that I'm there. Like, hey, I'm here for X, Y, and Z. I'm here for a broken ankle. Please focus on that. Don't focus on my weight. I was really good at that point. And then that day, that doctor that I had seen, I think for the past, I think 2, 3 years, she wasn't there that day, or she was there but she was too busy, or she wasn't there. I can't remember the situation, what it was. But I was there, and I had to see another doctor, and he was a young doctor, and he was um really handsome Middle Eastern guy, really sweet. And I can tell that he was being trained, right? And he's like, hi, my name is Dr. X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to go through your history of blood work. And then we can go from there. Da 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 da, because I've been doing it yearly at that point. So they had a pretty good history of it. And he tells me, there's nothing to worry about. Everything looks pretty good. We're going to draw some blood again this time and make sure that everything's going well. And he was like, it's all good. Now we're just going to have like my other supervisor come in and have him take a look at these things, and then we'll go from there. Based on what he says, we'll go do the exams, blood, run some blood and things like that. And I was like, okay, cool. Hey, I also have been having a hard time sleeping. I have insomnia. I do have a lot of anxiety, and I've been really anxious lately. And he's like, we can talk about this. Do you have a history of depression and so on? And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Check, check, check. And he was like, okay, cool. But I was like, lately it's been like a lot of anxiety, more than I've ever had before. And so I was trying to get them to send me to a therapist, a psychiatrist, someone that can probably give me medicine, or someone that can help me work through my issues. And as we're talking, then the next doctor comes in, and he doesn't even acknowledge me. He talks to the doctor, hello, let me see her chart. And oh, she has this and she's that. And then he turns around and looks at me, and literally looks at me up and down like, and he's like, oh my God, these numbers are crazy. These numbers, I think you need to go on diabetes medicine. So then he just starts giving me a literally CVS list of medicine that I needed to take all of a sudden. I needed diabetes medicine, and I needed high blood pressure medicine, and I needed just a whole bunch of things that for cholesterol, even though I didn't have issues with cholesterol, it was, and all of a sudden I was just being bombarded, and I'm like, hold on a second. And I'm trying to talk to the doctor, because up to this moment, I had been really good at advocating for myself. And he's like, uh, I'm trying to talk to him, and he's just like, hold on a second, hold on a second. He just kept putting his hand in front of my face, because I'm on the side of him. He's looking at the computer, and I'm on his side, and he just kept going like this to me. And he's just talking about me like I'm not there, to the other doctor. And all of a sudden, the doctor's um, tone changes, the other one, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah. yeah, 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 let's get her on some diabetes medicine. Let's get her on this. Let's get her on that. And I was like, what's going on? Why are you guys all of a sudden, there's no new blood based on the previous blood that we've taken the previous um time that I had blood drawn, like it was okay. And now this doctor comes and now I need all this medicine. And then I wanted to ask him for a reference for a therapist or something because you need to go through your primary doctor at that point. And I think you still do. And he just wouldn't listen to me. He didn't give me any of that. He just says, here, go to the pharmacy, start taking this medicine. I need you to stop eating right. I need you to put down, whatever bad habits you have, put them down, blah, 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 blah. And then and then he goes, okay, I don't have time for this. And essentially, and just walks out. And then the other doctor's like, he kind of looks like, he looks uncomfortable. He looks weird. And he was like, well, okay, here's your, go to the nurse. She's going to draw your blood and I'll see you next time. And I was like, okay. And I just walked out. I go to the nurse and I'm literally feeling, I felt my hands were cold. I'm like anxious. My heart's beating. I'm disoriented. I literally feel so confused. I'm like, what just happened? Like, I was just treated so badly that, oh, and then I remember asking the other doctor that came to supervise, hey, I'm having issues with, I don't even remember what it was. And he was like, it's probably because of your weight. And I'm like, how does it, and it was like saying, hey, I'm having a sore thumb. And he just automatically related to that. And I was so confused. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not a doctor and I know that that's not related. Um, and so I left there and they draw the blood and then the nurses as well. I don't know if they heard the conversation. I don't know if because it was right across from the other room, and then they started talking to me about Ozempic and this and that, and she was like, "Girl, you can get on this," and I'm literally there just quietly sitting there as they're drawing my blood, and I keep getting these like attacks of like, you're too young and too beautiful to be having issues because I see all the medicine you have to take and da 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 da. And so I was like, I'm literally just looking at them like, what? What's going on? So I'm just so confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I just wanted to get out of there. That's all I wanted to do. And I just could feel the knot in my throat just getting thicker and thicker and the water in my eyes. And I'm like, don't cry, don't cry. Just like, get the hell out of there. So then I go and they say, just have to wait like about an hour to go get this medicine and whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get it in my pharmacy. I just ran out of there and I cried and I went home and I just kept crying. And I'm like, what just happened? I just felt so ignored. I felt so, the only time that that doctor spoke to me was to shame me. And I was like, you know what, let's just wait for the blood work. I know nothing has been different before, so I should be okay. And he was just an asshole who like decided to be rude to me and just judge me by what my body looks. He didn't judge me because of my numbers on blood or any medical history. He just judged me because of how I looked. And it was such an offensive feeling and it was so degrading that I went home and I told my sisters and I told my girlfriend and I'm literally bawling and I'm like, he didn't even let me talk. Like he was just yelling at me and my siblings are like, you know what, like take it easy, make sure you make your appointment again to go see your normal doctor, your actual physician. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And but still at this point now I'm very anxious. I'm questioning everything in my body and it reminds me of how much fat people are stealing from being in their own bodies. Like, do you know how many times as a young girl, as a teenager, as a young adult, I was given just random advice about how I can lose weight and what I should do to lose weight. And people were telling me, oh, you're eating too much. Or some other people would be like, you're not eating enough to like make your metabolism be faster and this and that. And it was just, it just made me feel, and this started at a really young age. I remember the first time someone gave me, diet advice. I was probably like 7 years old. And I remember thinking like, okay, like why isn't my other sibling being spoken to about this as well? Like why was this just my issue? And it was just very confusing. And hearing that little by little, and I didn't notice it until it was too late. I realized that I didn't feel in control of my body. I didn't feel, I lost hunger cues. I lost fullness cues. Like I other people became an expert in my body and who I was, that at this point I couldn't recognize those basic things as a human being, as a person in my body. I'm like, I had to look to someone else to be like, okay, you're having breakfast. That means that I have to have breakfast. You're having lunch, so I'm going to have lunch. Like, I couldn't remember when was the last time I felt full. I couldn't remember when was the last time that I felt hunger or things like that. And it happened very rarely, but it did happen when I would like notice it. But and then it clicked all together, and I was like, wow, so many people have been telling me my entire life how I feel and what should I do with my body, and now I've lost it. I've lost the plot. I've lost the ability to recognize and be an expert in my body, because I live in this 24/7. For the past 30 something years, I have been the one in this body, and I know what's best for me. And so it was just really heartbreaking, because at that point it was like one of those scenarios where it's so extreme that you get to see it just like how it was. And even though this is a doctor, this is a person that I should trust with like medical questions and my body, I just felt so humiliated and so ignored at the same time that I was like, I'm not going to ask him anything. I'm just going to wait for my doctor. And anyways, that's what I did. I waited to my doctor, and I called and I was like, hey, I want to make an appointment with my actual doctor. Do not give me anyone else. Note those two doctors that were on my last appointment to never come across me. I never want to see them again. Make that note, please, in my file. I don't ever want to see them again. Hang up, and they tell me, just you'll have your appointment with her in 3 months. And at this point, I'm just spiraling. I had previous eating disorder issues. Like when I was younger, I used to abuse laxatives and other pills so that I would go to the bathroom frequently, if you know what I mean. And and now I wanted to do it. I was like, I think I should do that again. I think I need. And I was like, wait, no, you know better than this. You're older, you're wiser, you've done a lot more research. You know what's good and what's not good for you. I just burned my mouth. Half of my brain wanted to remind me that I know all these facts and I know all these proper ways of like dealing with an eating disorder. But in the other half was like, if the doctor's telling me this, and if the doctor's saying that I'm like in a really bad health situation just because of the way he looked at me, because of how he looked at me, he made these diagnoses. And I was just so confused and so conflicted with like, what do I do? Who do I believe? Who do I believe? And how do I go about this? And I just started spiraling. For a few days, I couldn't really eat. I was kind of afraid of eating. I was afraid of like even drinking water. Like it was so, I'm like, is this water gonna fill me up and make my stomach expand so much that now I'm gonna need more food to feel full? And maybe all I'm eating is junk food, and all I'm eating is this, and maybe all I should do is eat broccoli for a week, and maybe all I should do is eat spinach or eating green vegetables for a week or for a month. And it was just the most spiraling, most horrible 3 months that I had. And then I decided to do what I can. And I was like, let me just be conscious of my body and kind of listen to it. And so I looked for different places and different people that were dietitians and nutritionists that I wanted to um, hire them for their services. And I learned a lot of things that I'm going to share with you at the end that really helped me. But after the 3 months, I see the doctor. I go in, and she tells me, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, not well at all. I had a horrible experience with the last doctor that you assigned to see me. Um, oh, wait, before I even saw the doctor, a couple of days after my appointment, I get a phone call. I'm getting my hair done, and I get a phone call. And remember the doctor, the young doctor that was being supervised by the other one, was completely changed his tune with me. I get a phone call. I'm in the hair salon, and I just pick up and I'm like, hello, how are you? Hey, is this Jessica Torres? Yes, is this me? And then he starts saying, hey, we got your blood work, and though it's not a higher number, it is higher than before. So now I need you to put down, this is, I'm quoting what he said. I need you to put down the cupcakes. I need you to put down the cakes. I need you to put down the burgers, the fries, and start focusing on your health and eating better. And this is me in the salon, just like listening to him say this to me. And I'm like, what? And then he was like, yes, don't forget to take your medicine and we'll see you in the next time. And I'm just there, sitting there at the chair, and I'm like trying to hold in my tears. And my hairstylist noticed. She's like, hey, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm just like quickly trying to like go through my phone, and like I just spiraled even more at that point. And I was like, I need to find something to like fix this, because I don't want to be living on this medicine. I don't even know if I need this medicine, but apparently I do, because this doctor saw me. And even though my numbers were within a good health perspective, and they weren't, but they were higher than they were before, even though that's, I knew something was off, because I hadn't slept, I had insomnia, I was going days without sleeping. Like, it was clearly that, and the anxiety that I was going through. There were so many changes going in my life those things affect your body. And I knew that there was something up, and whatever. So then that happens. And then the 3 months go by. I'm already spiraling. I feel horrible. I fell into depression again. I fell into horrible depression. I had stopped seeing my therapist at this time because something else happened. She had left the place, and I was in between therapists. So it was a really bad time for me to experience this. And I was just so upset. And I go to the doctor and I tell her, like, this is what happened. And she literally was there just looking at me with her mouth open, like, what the fuck? Like, and she goes, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And she's like holding my hand. She was like, that's intense. Like, I let me look at your results from your blood. And she goes, yeah, they're a little bit higher than they were before, but like, no reason for you to be on this medicine. I would just tell you to. And at that point, I had lost some weight because of the anxiety and because I wasn't eating. And when I ate, it was only like broccoli and things with high fiber. So naturally, of course, it wasn't really realistic way of living for me. But in those 3 months where my body was in a panic and I was in a panic, because now in my brain, I'm like, now I'm going to die in a year because I'm a bad fat person. I'm not a good healthy person. And, and I was just going through these like horrible body experiences where I felt really bad. And so she apologizes. She was like, okay. And she kind of looked scared asking me this, but she goes, have you been taking the medicine? And I said, no, which it was true. I did not, because I didn't believe him. And something inside of me told me, don't do it. Like, step away from this and just wait until you see her. And if she tells you that you do need to take the medicine, then take it. And she goes, okay, I'm glad you didn't take the medicine, because I feel like it would have made it worse. Sorry? Like, what do you mean that would have made it worse? Like, I just sat there and being like, what the fuck is going on? And it was just such a horrible experience where I just completely, by the way, I left that hospital, that clinic completely. And I was like, I'm never coming here. Even though I had a good experience with this lady, I never want this to happen again where she's busy and I have to see another asshole doctor like that. And it was just, as much as a relief I was that I was fine and healthy, but going through that experience was just so damaging that I didn't feel safe going there anymore. And it was just it was just so bad. I noticed that I needed like a break. Like, I needed to just like go home and relax. And I mean, I cried more, but I just laid in bed and had to sleep for the rest of the day. It was just such a traumatizing experience. I needed a break. That was such a great example of a time where I decided not to dress up, not to do my makeup, not to be all dolled up to go to the doctor's office, because my appointment was like, I think at 7 a.m. or something like that. It was so early. So I was like, I need to just go and get that done and come home. And I didn't, and I looked just like an average fat person who probably they think didn't care about how she looks, because I was wearing sweats and a t-shirt with a stain and my big, running errands coat on top. And I'm, like, I don't look polished and fashionable like I usually do. And that happened to me because I didn't look good. And I didn't, have this shield of beauty to protect me from being mistreated as a fat person. And I know a lot of you people who are watching this video are probably like, yeah, I've been there. I've noticed a difference. I would love to hear that in the comment section below, because I want to start the discussion, and I want to do more videos like this. And I hope you guys like these kind of videos. But it was just something that I kind of wanted to, talk to you guys and see how you're doing, how you're feeling. And this was something that happened a year ago, and again, really made me go for a loop. Like, it was such a traumatizing experience that it took me, I think, a year. It's been a year now, and I haven't gone for a yearly checkup. Again, because I'm still looking for a doctor that I know is not going to traumatize me, and that's so horrible. So if you guys have any recommendations, I know that there's a lot of health at every size doctors, and if you know one in New York that you love, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm looking for one. Um, but yeah, it's just such a horrible experience, and traumatizing, truly traumatizing. What this experience did for me was, first of all, I feel bad for anyone who goes through something like this and didn't have the prepping that I had before. Like, I've been someone who's been purposefully looking for true fat acceptance and learning to accept my body, regardless of what size I may be. Um, and I could just imagine someone who still believes in diet culture, someone who's deeply engraved in an eating disorder going through something like this. This would have, I was able to bounce back immediately after a few weeks, months maybe, and feel at ease with myself because I had already done eating disorder coaching before. And I learned some things that really made me be able to bring myself back to who I am and who I know I can be, and whatnot. And feel in control of my body. It's those things of like learning to practice. Like, and I'll go through them right now because I think it's really, really important. The first thing, if you're having any type of eating disordered, binge eating, it's usually what I was, talking about with my, it was like a mix of binge eating and not eating. One of the things that I learned when I went through eating disorder therapy and coaching and all of that was to remember that there's no better expert of my body than myself, because I live in it all the time and I know what feels good, what feels bad, what hurts, what my pain tolerance is, and what all those kind of things, all those kind of factors of like being in me, like trusting that. Trusting that again is something that I think took me a really hard, long time to understand and to believe in myself, because I've been so used to other people telling me how much to eat, what to do, and all this advice that it made me feel like everyone was a better judge about my body than I was, when truly I am the only expert. But something that really helped me get back into eating healthy and eating the way I should be eating was a few tips, and the ones that really, really stuck in my brain and really helped me to this day. One is eating without any distraction. No TV, no, scrolling through YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or anything like that. Just eating by myself quietly and kind of enjoying the food. It's very important. Something that I really loved that I learned was to look at the food, eat it, taste it, feel it. Like, go through all the senses in your body while you're eating, so that not only are you satisfied physically, but you're also satisfied emotionally, mentally, and you notice that you're eating. You're like purposely eating and not just going through the motions. That I think is the best tip that I ever learned. Something else was to enjoy movement, and this is something that I want to do another video on, because it's also been something that I started doing after that experience, was like discovering different ways of movement, because I wanted to feel in charge of my body and get to recognize. For me, it was like an experiment in recognizing when my body was sore, when my body was tired, and when it needed movement. Because to this point, I was really having a hard time with working out. Not because I was afraid of being skinny or anything like that, because a lot of people think that because I'm into body positivity and fat acceptance, that I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose any weight, because, that to me wasn't important. Like, if weight was lost because I was working out, then that makes sense, because there's a cost and effect. If I'm moving more than I was before, then the effect is that I will be losing some weight. But most likely I will never be a skinny person ever. And I'm okay with that. And That's something I think that a lot of people have to come to terms with, is that this body may not be temporary. Like, this is something that will bring you peace. Um, this one's a really heavy topic, and I think that again is going to be another video, but it's true. And I'm telling you this because, and I'm telling you this story because I want you to remember that you don't owe beauty to anyone. That's the whole purpose of this video. And I know that I was talking about it for so long, but the whole purpose of this is that I don't want you to leave this and think, oh, okay, maybe I do need to wear makeup and do my hair and dress up so that I can be treated better. And that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that you don't owe prettiness to anyone. You don't owe femininity to anyone. You do it when you want to do it. And it doesn't really matter if you are dressed up or not. You should advocate for yourself to look good, to be treated with, be looked at in a proper way is what I mean, to be treated with respect. Do it for yourself, not for anyone else, right? And I did this thing. I also have a Substack called All Things Fat with Jessica Torres, and I did write about this in a article I titled "Fat People Can Afford to Be Ugly," and please look it up. I'm gonna link it down below so you can read more about it. It's in a more organized way, not just me yapping at you. I think you'll like the article if you like this video, and there's a lot more essays like this on my Substack. Anyway, so I forgot what I was saying, but I think I want this video to just be a remembering to. I think I want this video to be the permission that you need to be ugly. Don't feel the need to be pretty. And I think that's something that I was a slave of for so long. Like, I had to look good, and it was that experience, as traumatizing as it was also really eye-opening and really encouraging me to be like, hey, I want to be treated well whether I look good or I don't, whether I'm dressed up or I'm not, whether I have my hair and makeup done or I don't, or if I'm allowed to just be. And I know someone else that left a comment in another vlog that I said this, and I hope this, helps everyone to remember that you're allowed to be ugly, you're allowed to be pretty, you're allowed to be whoever you want to be, and that you are the best judge of your body. And yeah, I hope this makes sense. And I know that I was going around and in circles with this, but I just wanted to talk about this today. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know in the comment section below if you like these videos, if you want to hear more about me yapping about these stories and things like that. Also, don't forget to check out my Substack down below that's linked. There are a lot of other stories like this that I get to talk about and love to talk about. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.